It's been a while. Y'all want to see my favorite painting? It's Jesus, but it's not like regular. It's not regular Jesus, as you can see. It's bloody Jesus. It's Jesus he got Mary down there at his feet. But I feel like this represents like a clear representation of who Jesus really is. We always be seeing him like all nice and stuff, like with his hand out. I feel like this is more of like the Jesus I remember, you know what I mean? Like this makes me feel for him. This makes me feel like, man, you really went through something, and I really be going through stuff. Some of those stuff I want to talk about today, actually. I would like to open a dialogue. Clearly, this is very informal. It's on purpose because I just want to have a conversation. And I didn't feel like preparing too much for a conversation. I feel like this is enough. I feel like just the vibe, just me and you, I feel like it's enough. I want to have a conversation around schizophrenia. And I've been thinking a lot as I've been realizing that I'm experiencing schizophrenic tendencies. I've been wondering, is there really something wrong with me? Or is this something that God is showing me? Is this a new layer of exposure that God is revealing me to? For instance, I've been thinking a lot about Moses. Moses, his story with the Israelites started with him talking to a burning bush who said it was God. Now, me personally, I feel as though in this world today, if I came to you and I said, hey, listen, bro, just hear me out, bro. I'm outside gardening and this fern starts talking to me. Hold on, the fern tells me to take my shoes off, okay? All right. Now, as the fern is telling me to take my shoes off, the fern, it's also God. Now look, no, hear me out. Hear me out, bro. Before you lock me up, the fern just wanted me to tell you that God is coming to save you. There's a big difference, I feel, between Moses' experience back in the day and if I had the very same experience today. I feel like I'd much rather exist in biblical times because I'm in my schizophrenic episodes, if you will. I'm simply believing and seeing that human beings are more capable than things that we previously thought. And I'm not saying I understand everything, but I'm saying that I'm just curious, and I'm experiencing that human beings can do more than just the average. And even more, I'm experiencing that the universe in itself is so much more than just what meets the eye. And it feels off-putting because I'm looking around and I'm seeing and I'm experiencing these things that it seems that no one else is seeing and experiencing. So then I end up feeling a bit like, well, am I crazy? Is there something wrong with me? But then again, I lean on these prophets and I say, well, when God sent them to say things and God showed them visions, it wasn't things that everybody else was seeing. And I'm not calling myself a prophet, but I'm reading the scriptures that talk about in the last days that every Christian and every believer has been waiting on. It says that your young men will prophesy and your young women will see visions. And I'm wondering, is this the experience that me and a few other people that I've spoken to are going through? And it makes me empathetic as I've been having these experiences towards these people that I've seen my entire life, like even walking on the street and they're talking to these things that nobody else can see. And we would just like say, well, they're crazy, man. But now I'm like, well, but you're actually seeing something. And what if it is that there are other worlds beyond this one that we have obviously been trapped in? And what if you are just a person who can see beyond the trap that we're all in, this rat race that we're all in, this box and system that we're all in? What if you're just a person who has been granted vision to see beyond this, but because you exist in a world that could not accept what was beyond what they could immediately see, you were rejected by it? And when people are rejected, I mean, they may not have been crazy at first, but when you start to feel rejected, it creates anger in you. It creates defensiveness in you. So people start to act in irrational ways. And so they start to come off as crazy, sure, but it doesn't mean that what they're experiencing, what they're seeing is not something worth investigating, or it doesn't mean that their words don't matter anymore, perhaps because they've been rejected by the world for years, which has caused them to exist in this box by themselves, and nobody talks to these people. So you've just looped your thoughts for years now. And I mean, of course, that can put somebody in a bad place. But what I'm saying is, what if these people at their core or in their hearts, or just simply what they're experiencing has truth to it? And are we giving these people enough compassion? Or are we rejecting them in the same way that one would reject Christ, who was saying things that was outside the norm of what was socially acceptable at the time? Are we rejecting them like we reject the prophets, who were saying things that was outside the norm, because God has never sent a prophet who was saying things that were just easy and palatable for people to understand? Every time God has sent a prophet, it was to say something or correct something because there was something people weren't understanding, or a way in which he needed to open people's mind to see a different perspective. So of course they were going to say things that are outside of what the public is going to understand immediately. Yet these people were rejected in the same way that we're rejecting these people, and we put them in hospitals, or we outcast them from society. And it's like we then turn around and go to church and read our Bibles and say, I would never reject Christ. I would never reject his prophets. But are we really considering what the experience of a prophet truly is? Are they not going to say things that would make you think they're schizophrenic? If Moses came to you right now and said, I'm talking to a burning bush, but the living God sent me to you, would you accept him? Or would you say, I'm not listening to a man who talks to trees and bushes and is saying that God is sending him through a burning bush? Like, how much easier would it be to go in that route? To say Moses was crazy and to put him in a mental facility, or to outcast him from society? Yet this was the man who led an entire nation out of slavery and into God's promised land. I think most people in the Bible, we'd honestly in this world put them in mental facilities. They wouldn't survive. We tell them they're crazy. We tell them what they say doesn't make sense, in the same way that the people back then rejected them. And we think that we wouldn't do the same. But perhaps we would. Perhaps we already have.